5:14 local time, Strait of Hormuz. The water is flat, a sheet of gunmetal gray catching the first smear of pre-dawn light. The USS Bainbridge, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, Flight 2A, runs a steady 16 knots on a bearing of 115, shepherding a military Sea Lift Command logistics vessel through the northern choke point between Larak Island and the main shipping channel. The air smells of salt and warm steel and distant diesel. On the flight deck, a single sailor finishes the pre-flight walk-around on an idle Seahawk. On the bridge, the officer of the deck sips coffee that has already gone cold. There is no alert. There is no horizon to speak of yet. There is only the low hum of the gas turbines, the soft tick of the gyro compass, and the dim amber glow of the Combat Information Center 2 decks below, where 4 watchstanders track a world that, on the surface, looks empty. Then the tone sounds. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is a single, thin electronic note from the SPY-1D air search radar console, soft enough that a civilian would not notice it. Every man in the CIC notices it. The tactical action officer does not raise his voice. He simply leans forward 2 inches and reads the screen. 3 new surface contacts. Bearing 285. Range 11 nautical miles. Speed increasing through 32 knots. He waits. He does not call the bridge. Not yet. 1 contact at 30 knots in the strait is nothing. Small commercial craft, smugglers, fishing dhows with outsized engines. 3 contacts at 32 knots in close formation is geometry. And geometry is the first word in the sentence the radar is trying to write. 9 seconds later, the screen writes the rest. 4 more contacts appear southwest of the first 3. Then another 4, further west, hugging the coastline off Kesham. 12 returns total, arranged in 3 tight wedges, closing on a single point in the water. That point is the Bainbridge. The tactical action officer keys the internal circuit. His voice is flat, almost bored, which is how it is supposed to sound. Bridge, CIC. Multiple surface contacts, 3 groups, total 12, bearing 285 to 297. Range 11, speed 34, and increasing geometry consistent with IRGCN fast attack profile. Recommend general quarters. On the bridge, the captain does not look up from the chart. He nods once. The word goes out. No alarm shrieks, no music swells, no one shouts. The ship simply begins to wake. Bulkhead doors seal with soft metallic clicks. The 5-inch Mark 45 gun mount on the bow traverses 4 degrees to starboard and stops. The 2 Phalanx CIWS turrets, one forward, one aft, rotate into ready position with a sound like a small motor yawning. Down in the magazine, an automated feed indexes a fresh belt of 20mm tungsten into the forward mount. Nobody runs, nobody shouts. The aft flight deck crew begins to spool up the MH-60R. This is not panic. This is not chaos. This is the exact sequence, in the exact order, that the crew has rehearsed 68 times in the last 15 months. In CIC, the display refreshes. The 12 contacts are now at 9 nautical miles. Their speed is 41 knots. Their course has tightened. They are not patrolling. They are converging. The tactical action officer looks at the cross-range data and does not like the geometry at all. 3 wedges, 4 boats each, arriving on 3 separate bearings spaced roughly 40 degrees apart. Classic saturation profile. The idea is simple and old. Come from 3 directions at once. Close faster than the destroyer's fire control can assign targets. Launch short-range anti-ship missiles from inside 3 miles and get back into the littoral before the American response lands. The idea has one problem. The destroyer is not alone. Over the horizon, 78 nautical miles to the east-southeast, a Nimitz-class carrier and her escorts are conducting routine flight operations. An E-2D Hawkeye is airborne at 31,000 feet, radar sweeping the entire strait, feeding cooperative track data through the Cooperative Engagement Capability data link. The Hawkeye saw the 12 contacts before the Bainbridge did. 2 FA-18 Super Hornets on Ready 5 alert have already been ordered to launch. An MH-60R from the carrier group is inbound to the Bainbridge's flank at 140 knots. None of this is visible from the Iranian boats. None of it is meant to be. The radio speaker on the bridge crackles. Bridge to bridge, channel 16, the open international distress and hail frequency. The officer of the deck raises the handset. Unidentified fast craft, unidentified fast craft. This is United States warship. You are approaching a warship of the United States Navy. Alter course immediately. Acknowledge. Nothing comes back. Not static, not Farsi, not English. The speaker is silent. He keys the mic again. Same message, same language, same calm tone. He gives them 30 seconds. The radar says the lead wedge is now at 7 nautical miles. Speed 43 knots. He keys the mic a third time. He does not repeat. Instead, he says, "Unidentified fast craft. You are entering restricted maneuvering water. Your closure rate is hostile. Deviate now." Still nothing. That silence matters. That silence is the answer. On the starboard bridge wing, the boatswain's mate of the watch lifts his binoculars. The horizon is no longer empty. 12 low, lean hulls skim the water in 3 tight arrowheads, throwing white wakes that catch the growing light. They are painted flat haze gray, no visible markings, but the silhouette is unmistakable. Paycop 3, Zulfagar, heavy machine guns forward, short-range anti-ship missile canisters amidships, rocket pods on the quarter. The IRGCN's entire swarm doctrine is burning across the water toward him. He lowers the binoculars. He does not say anything dramatic. He says, "Captain, visual confirmation. 12 hostile, 3 wedges. Closing." The captain is already on the bridge wing. He has been there for 90 seconds. He looks at the water, looks at the display repeater, looks back at the water. He says one word to the tactical action officer through the open hatch. Aegis. In the CIC, the baseline 9 combat system has already finished doing what Aegis does when 12 hostile surface contacts appear inside the inner engagement zone. It has sorted them by threat priority. It has assigned fire control tracks to every one of the 12. It has cross-referenced the cooperative engagement capability picture with the Hawkeye's overhead radar. It has pre-computed firing solutions for the 5-inch Mark 45, the 2 Phalanx CIWS, the port and starboard 25mm Bushmaster chain guns, the C-RAM point defense launcher, and, as an outer layer, a pair of standard Missile 2 Block 3IC rounds in the forward vertical launch system cells. Each of the 12 contacts now exists in the system's memory, with a priority number, a lead angle, a weapon assignment, and a fire order that requires only one thing: a human voice saying yes. No one has said yes. No one is going to say yes. Not yet. This is what discipline looks like in 2026. It is not a man shouting fire. It is a system, calm and cold, and already on target, waiting for a captain who has not been pushed far enough to authorize a release. The 12 boats are now at 5 nautical miles, speed 46 knots. The wedge on the northern axis breaks into 2 pairs. One pair cuts left, attempting to loop around the logistics vessel. The other pair accelerates straight at the Bainbridge. The southern wedges hold formation. The geometry is tightening into a noose. The captain keys the bitch box. Tactical status. The tactical action officer's voice is still flat. Sir, all 12 held. Aegis solution complete. CIWS in auto-engage standby. 5-inch holding targeting set. Seahawk airborne, bearing 300, inbound at 140. 2 Super Hornets feet wet. ETA 6 minutes. E2D has the picture. The captain nods to himself. He turns to the officer of the deck. One more hail, then we step on the line. The officer of the deck keys the mic. Unidentified fast craft. This is United States warship Bainbridge. You are inside restricted maneuvering water. If you do not deviate now, defensive measures will be taken. Deviate immediately. The lead boat of the northern wedge closes through 4 nautical miles. It does not deviate. It accelerates. This is the crisis point. Every doctrine manual, every war college seminar, every rules of engagement briefing has a name for this exact moment. Weapons quality envelope. The adversary has crossed from threatening to imminent. Understanding orders, the captain is now authorized to fire first. He does not. He does something harder. He keys the command circuit and speaks 3 words that every sailor on the ship has been waiting to hear. Layered response, now. From the aft flight deck, the MH-60R Seahawk lifts into a low hover, noses over, and accelerates to the north-northwest. Its door gunner swings the GAU-21 50 caliber machine gun onto the mount. The Seahawk from the carrier arrives 6 seconds later from the east and peels south to cover that axis. 200 feet above the water, both helicopters begin to herd. Not shoot, not yet, but present a threat the fast boats cannot ignore, cutting off their escape geometry on the flanks. The 5-inch Mark 45 trains onto the lead boat of the northern wedge and fires a single warning round. The shell strikes the water 50 meters ahead of the boat's bow in a clean white column of spray that rises 20 feet and hangs in the air for a full second before collapsing. A second round lands 30 meters ahead. A third, 15. The 25mm Bushmasters on the port and starboard quarters come alive. Barrels tracking. No rounds yet sent downrange. The phalanx mounts are hot, pointed, and silent. The C-Ram sits with its 11-round magazine aligned on the closest threat axis. Above, the E-2D Hawkeye quietly walks a simulated firing solution through the Cooperative Engagement Capability data link, and every sensor in the battle group now shares the Bainbridge's picture in real time. 2 Super Hornets punch across the horizon at 500 knots, low and loud, and break directly over the southern Iranian wedge at 400 feet. The sonic signature of 2 FA-18s going overhead at that altitude is not a sound. It is a physical blow on the water. The boats have not been fired on. They have not been destroyed. They have been shown, in about 14 seconds, what the actual weight of the American response looks like when it is still restraining itself. They have been shown that they are not fighting a ship. They are fighting a system. The lead boat of the northern wedge cuts its throttle. The boat behind it veers 90 degrees to port, kicks a huge rooster tail wake, and begins to run for the Iranian coast. The rest of the wedge follows within 3 seconds. The central wedge hesitates, splits, and turns. The southern wedge, already pinned by a Super Hornet turning for a second pass, breaks formation and scatters. The captain does not smile. He does not celebrate. He says, into the internal circuit, calm as a man reading a weather report, hold fire. Track them all the way home. The CIC Tactical Action Officer exhales for the first time in 9 minutes. And what you just watched is not a scene from a film. On April 23, 2026, American forces boarded the tanker Majestic X in the Indian Ocean, a Guyana-flagged vessel sanctioned since 2024 for smuggling Iranian crude to refineries in Zhoushan, China. The day before, Iranian forces opened fire on 3 cargo ships in the Strait of Hormuz and captured 2 of them. Since Operation Epic Fury began on February 28th, more than 30 vessels have been attacked across the Persian Gulf, the Strait of Hormuz, and the Gulf of Oman. A ceasefire was declared on April 8th and extended indefinitely 2 weeks later. Yet it is being strained daily by dueling American seizures and Iranian retaliations. Traffic through the strait, where 1/5 of the world's crude oil passes, has all but stopped. The scenario you have been watching is not a forecast. It is one retaliation cycle away from the news feed. Back on the water, the 12 boats are now at 9 nautical miles and increasing. The Bainbridge has not altered course. The logistics vessel has not altered course. The Seahawks circle lazily at 1,000 feet, watching the wakes shrink into the coastal haze. The 2 Super Hornets climb, turn, and rejoin the Combat Air Patrol stack east of the carrier. The E-2D Hawkeye logs the contact tracks and continues its racetrack orbit. The Tactical Action Officer looks at the 12 contacts peeling apart on his display, their formation already fractured, and thinks a thing he will not say out loud. They came in 3 wedges. They are leaving as 12 individual returns. Whatever unit discipline they carried to the edge of that envelope, they are not carrying back. On the bridge, the captain receives a routine report from engineering, a routine report from damage control, and a routine report from the flight deck. Nothing is on fire. Nothing is flooding. No round has been fired at the Bainbridge. No round has been fired from the Bainbridge in anger. The Mark 45 has expended 3 warning shots and will be rearmed before dusk. The CIWS mounts are safed. The phalanx barrels are cooling. The CRAM is dearmed. The vertical launch system cells that held the standard missile rounds on standby, close with a soft mechanical sigh. The destroyer never changed course. It never needed to. This is the thing the IRGCN commander at Bandar Abbas will not put in his after-action report. He will write that the American warship responded with aggressive maneuvering and warning fire, which is technically true. He will not write that his 12 boats were tracked, assigned, solved, and overmatched by a single American destroyer and the battle group behind it before the first boat ever crossed into missile range. He will not write that the system on the other side never raised its voice. This is the difference between a trained warship and a frightened one. A frightened warship fires early, fires much, and fires wide. A trained warship fires exactly as much as the situation requires, and not 1 round more. 3 warning shots from a 5-inch gun, 2 low passes from a pair of Super Hornets, 2 helicopters on the flanks, and a combat system already holding firing solutions on every hostile contact in the water, with nobody saying the word. That is what American sea control looks like in 2026. Not Hero, not Fury, not the movie. It looks like 12 boats breaking off and running home in the direction they came from, and an American destroyer still making 16 knots on a bearing of 115, because that is the bearing it was already on. The sun is fully up now. The water has turned from gunmetal to pale blue. On the bridge wing, the boatswain's mate of the watch lowers his binoculars, looks at the empty horizon where 12 boats used to be, and quietly goes back to his logbook. In the CIC, the Tactical Action Officer clears the board to single contact tracking and orders a fresh pot of coffee. Iran bet that 12 boats and 3 wedges and 46 knots would beat a single American destroyer. They did not. They were not fighting a ship. They were fighting a system that saw them before they saw the ship, that sorted them before they closed, that held them in a lock they never knew they were inside, and that chose, deliberately and coldly, not to fire. And that is the hardest thing to sell to a regime built on provocation. Not defeat. Restraint. The American ship did not sink them. The American ship did not have to. Iran tested the line, twice in 48 hours. First a tanker in the Indian Ocean, then 12 boats in the Strait. If they cross it a third time, what you just watched is what happens next. The ocean forgets. The radar does not. The real question is not whether the Bainbridge could have sunk those 12 boats. It obviously could. The real question is whether Tehran understands that the only reason it did not was a choice. Should Iran have pushed harder and forced the release? Or is this exact moment, 12 boats running home, no ship on fire, no war declared, precisely why Washington keeps winning the Strait without firing a missile? Drop your read in the comments.